And we're back. Chris Warden, Andy Jones Wilkins. We're going to try and keep things moving fast and furious here at the finish of Run Rapid Run 100. We've got, at guesstimation, maybe about 106, 105 runners still on course that can finish this race. They have between now and 8 p.m. local time, which gives them about 2 hours and 35 minutes to cross the finish line. And most of those runners are in the final 10 miles of this race.
Yep, we're waiting on two runners who, at least according to race tracking, are still in the race and have yet to reach the Long Lake aid station. They need to reach that by now it's down to one runner. One runner, Stephen Aguirre, is attempting to reach Long Lake in the next 5 minutes. If he does so, he can continue on. If not, his day is over. Otherwise, we have David Morin is the last runner through. He's safely through in 32:41 elapsed through Long Lake. As Chris mentioned, Long Lake is 12 miles from the finish and is taking runners anywhere from 3 to 5 hours to cover. So while we were changing streams, we did have a couple of finishes. And by the way, with the Hares race finish, we won't preface it by finishes in the Tortoise race, but it'll just be finished. After Mickey McConaughey, we had Mickey McConaughey, then Mickey Martin, finished in 33:19. 2 minutes after Mickey, Rebecca Taranto in 33:21. Also in 33:21, Kyle Andrew. I know Kyle had some fans in the chat. And then Nick Hawes in 33:23. And then our second early bird starter, Dina Griffin, in 34:19.
Way to get it up. Way to get it done, folks.
Our drone is back up in the air and will remain in the air as long as they safely can. Got their eyes on some runners coming in.
That is definitely the finishing walk of a painful yet content 100-miler.
Indeed. V Vega asks a question, why isn't Top Tortoise listed as 13 overall?
Because
the truth is the races are two completely different races. It's not a combined race with two separate starts. It's two separate races, two separate sets of rules, two separate things that they're racing for, two separate sets of cutoffs. So the results are completely different, and you wouldn't want to combine them into one set of results.
Correct. Yep.
This competitor is doing a little celebrating, making your way in.
As is their right and
absolutely
encouraged.
Some fist pumping. Dan Ryan, thank you. Gil, who you paced a little bit earlier in the day and yesterday, is coming in. Gil Sandoval, Dan's runner. In spite of Dan pacing him, he's going to finish.
Of course, at one point at the Olympian Aid, Gilbert tried his best to ditch Dan, but Dan found him anyways.
I thought he was trying to ditch him.
Looks like Gil is wearing a black shirt navy olive green shorts and a New Mexico flag buff yellow. So we'll keep an eye out for him.
As well as this nice drone shot on this participant. Actually, two participants, right?
Think so.
Looks like I
Maybe.
see a bib on the person to the far left. I certainly see a bib on the person second from
Yeah.
the left.
And with multiple people wearing hydration packs, I'm inclined to agree.
Yeah. Just about at that Long Lake cutoff. Again, all of this information will be unofficial. We don't know how they run the cutoffs here, how hard those cutoffs are, but what we do know is the Long Lake cutoff is 5:30 local time. And at least according to our tracking, there are two tortoises still on their way to Long Lake.
The one thing we do know is that we have 90 active runners confirmed that have actually gotten through Long Lake at this point.
And haven't finished yet.
Correct.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's a lot of runners in these final
2.5 hours.
2.5 hours.
So that's about a runner every 75 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Run Rabbit runs golden hour.
All but a couple.
The cutoff has been hit.
And yeah, we won't know until we get confirmation regarding Stephen Aguirre and Kevin Kim.
We do know that the 7 p.m. cutoff at Mount Werner is extremely tight.
Yep.
Nobody really is coming down that mountain in an hour.
We got note that Kevin Kim was a drop or missed a cutoff. And who was the other individual we were looking for?
Stephen Aguirre. Yeah.
Stephen Aguirre still not showing as one, but yeah, it looks like Kevin Kim has been moved down to the dropped list, but we need to confirm.
Yeah, we don't want if you're
wow.
Oh, we have a crowd coming.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It looks like about 15 people in a little bunch. Not sure if all of them are in the race or which race they're in, but all of a sudden there was a fairly decent sized group of people.
Up at Mount Werner, we had a lonely runner, William Nee. He's still not here, and as 2.5 hours has elapsed from when he went through Mount Werner, and then a slew of runners who went through between 2 and 2.5 hours ago, which has kind of been the default time coming down seems to be about 2 hours.
Looks like we have a front runner out there among those heading to the finish. I'm going to take a guess and say that's Dina Griffin, if it is a 100-miler.
Probably a safe guess. I have Dina Griffin finished, an early birder.
Oh, you're right. As Chris puts on his glasses.
Yeah. I can't see the number of the bib, but there's a Renee Sicchio.
Bib 879.
Who was through about 2 hours ago through Mount Werner.
Could be a 50-miler as well.
Yeah. Looks like a blue bib. Buckle. Finishers coming through. Probably in both distances. The hare race is done. About a half an hour, about 45 minutes before the cutoff. The final finisher came through in 29:15. Tortoise race is far from done. This is looking like a tortoise finisher right here. We had David Miller and Travis McWhorter finish together in 33:31. Again, that's David Miller and Travis McWhorter. This is potentially William Nee or Adam Hodges. I know we've had some Bret Harp fans in the chat. Bret Harp is closing in on the finish line as well. Matty Mao coming across the line in 33:34. That might have been that white t-shirt. Congratulations, Matty. Some happy supporters at the finish line. Karen Balloon just threw Mount Werner. You're looking for her. She's through in 33:32. Brian Pacenti is finisher at 33:35, just after Matty Mao. Congratulations, Brian. Looks very exciting down there at the finish line. Families and friends milling about. With our audio earlier, when Leah and Shit were down there, we heard the loud music and a lot of fun going on. I suspect that's still going on.
Of course. Just to clarify once again, when AJW says, quote, shit in that term, he's talking about Leah's partner.
Yeah, Mike McMonigal. Mike McMonigal. Everybody knows Mike as Shit in the Woods. He's an excellent photographer.
Yes.
And his Instagram handle is Shit in the Woods. Okay, another pair through, Tommy Volok and Adam Hodges. Adam Hodges did a great job coming down that final descent. 33:36. And another early birder. Our first 60-year-old, Kathy Fisher.
Kathy getting in under 36 hours outright, eligible for both Western States and Hard Rock lotteries.
I would just want to make double sure for 60-year-old, and that is.
Looks like it. Yep.
Yep, Kathy Fisher, first 60-year-old. Congratulations, Kathy. Great run.
Uh-oh. Sarah Newberry's entered the chat.
Hey, Sarah. She knows I mean Mike. She knows I means Mike. See, if you know,
This
you
is
know.
true.
Thanks, Sarah, keeping me straight.
Looks like we've got our stream back. When you're done. Yeah, perfect. Can you also correct our monitor? Thanks. Awesome. Great job, Jordan. We may have things go down from time to time, but we've got experts on the case.
Yeah.
Awesome. We'll get some drones in the sky.
Kyle Link, Ellen was looking for Kyle, cheering from Connecticut. Kyle is through Mount Werner, got through there in under 32 hours, 31:53. We're now sitting at 33:41. So I'm thinking it could be within the next 20 to 30 minutes. We'll see Kyle.
And our drone is in the sky, our John G Skycam.
And I'm just going to go out on a limb and say I think David Marin is our last runner on the course. Went through Long Lake at 32:41, giving him 3 hours and 18 minutes to cover the last 12 miles.
Yeah,
but
I'm
more to the
inclined to
point,
agree.
he has to get to Mount Werner at 7:00.
I figure we would have gotten an update on Stephen Aguirre or Kevin Kim by now.
Yeah.
Had they made that last cutoff.
Yeah, I think
Most
so.
recent cutoff. There is one more cutoff. And we're going to talk about that because the one thing that we've talked about is that the cutoffs for the tortoises have gotten a little bit more relaxed. And then all of a sudden at the end of the race, the runners have a 60-minute cutoff to make it from the final aid station at Mount Werder down to the finish.
Right. So the sad truth is there's probably a lot of runners who will make it, let's say between 6:30 and 7, and not make the finish. Let's just take our most recent finisher as an example, Kathy
For
Fisher,
several of them.
60 years old. I mean, she went from Mount Werner to the finish in 1 hour and 56 minutes.
Yeah. Most of the finishers at this point are taking between an hour and a half to 2 hours to finish from Mount Werner.
Dan Ryan's runner, for example, just hit the finish in 33:41. That's Gil Sandoval.
Shout out Gil.
Shout out Gil. His stretch was 2 hours and 3 minutes.
Yeah.
The runner before him, Joshua Schmidt, 2 hours and 2 minutes.
Mhm.
So really, there's a lot of runners who will potentially cross the finish line well after the hard cutoff of 36 hours.
Yeah. And
They'll be allowed to leave Mount Werner, but they won't make it.
yeah, because that last stretch is about 5.8 miles and it's downhill, but it's so downhill.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a gently sloping situation.
No.
You're losing about 800 feet of elevation per mile. So
Adam Hodges took 2 hours and 32 minutes to
Mhm.
go from Mount Werner to the finish.
So we'll keep an eye on it as Mount Werner is our only remaining cutoff point. But I think that runners are going to be able to get from Long Lake to Mount Warner, but getting from Mount Warner to the finish might present an issue for some of the runners.
Mhm.
We'll see what happens. We could be wrong. They might
Absolutely.
find that hidden gear, that extra pop in their step. I mean, if you've got, say you're just beat all the heck and you make it
Mhm.
maybe 6:40, 6:45, and you've got just under 6 miles to go, all downhill, half a tank of gas,
Mhm.
and it's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses, and you head down that hill, you think you can find a 10K in 75 minutes?
I really don't. I really don't. I mean, Justin Figueroa just finished. Great finished. Excellent work, Justin.
Mhm.
33 hours and 42 minutes. 2 hours to go from Mount Werner to the finish. I think we're seeing the pattern here.
Yeah. It has definitely slowed down because earlier it was in the 107 to 120 range for a lot of the finishers that were coming in sub 30.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It would be impressive to see some of these mid and back of the packers, though, potentially throw down
Mm-hmm.
like a 12, 13-minute mile pace. I just don't think, like you, I don't think all of them will be able to do it.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully it doesn't come to that. Hopefully they get through with plenty of time to spare. Because the thing is, they've got to come down from Mount Werner anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sarah Newberry asking us what our most memorable moment of the race is so far. I'm gonna say Tara Dower's finish. It was memorable. It was emotional. It was, it was an announcement of her arrival, and it was something to see. So she's got 6 weeks to get ready for Javelina, punch her golden ticket. Looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, that's a good one. If I had to pick something,
Well, you do. Sarah asked us. Well, she asked me, but I'm asking you.
oh, she didn't ask me.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't
Well,
have
yeah,
to answer.
she did. No. Sarah, don't you want to know Chris's?
I don't
most
have to come
memorable?
up with anything.
I think Chris needs to have two. Most memorable moment.
Well, the sandwich I had for lunch was very memorable. Best $16 sandwich I've ever had.
The beer we're going to have at Barley at 8:01.
And I think just hanging out at the Olympianade and
Yeah, that was a fun.
seeing, bringing the gimbal around and viewing all of the runners and their crews and knowing that they're all busting their butts to do what they can to get their runners through. The runners, you can see the pain on their faces as they come out of the warmth of the aid station into the dark, into the night, and they know they've got to get the job done.
Lots of excitement at the finish line, as we can see here. We've just had a flurry of finishes. So thanks, Sarah, for getting us off topic here. But but we have Kyle Link, who I know had some fans in the chat, Samantha Lee, and Laura Musgrave, all finishing in the last few minutes. 33:44, 33:45, and 33:46. So congratulations, Kyle, Samantha, and Laura, on your excellent finishes at Run Rabbit Run 100 miler.
Way to get it done. Yeah, Mountain Outpost is going to be streaming Mammoth Trail Fest next weekend.
Indeed.
So
we're two in a row.
Looking forward to that.
Getting some drone footage of another finisher. But yes, when for those of you who weren't watching, and I assume many of you weren't, Eric Hole and Tim Pearl finishing together in 33:47. Eric, I'm going to go back. Looks like they ran pretty much stride for stride the whole day. Eric and Tim, congratulations. You're Run Rabbit Run finishers in 33:47. For those of you who weren't watching in the witching hour, it was the middle of the night. It was freezing cold. We had no cameras on aid stations or in the sky, and the trackers were frozen. And Chris and I looked at each other, and for maybe the first time in the history of our live streaming together, we had nothing to talk about. So Chris said, I'm going to go get a gimbal and start walking around outside and talking to people. Well, it turned out to be a lot of fun, and I think we made lemons into lemonade.
Yeah, and it was kind of fun because in a couple of cases I ran into people that weren't even here. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
And did a quick interview with one of our runners who keeps showing up at our events.
It was good. It was really good.
Yeah,
and
we
you
had
were
fun.
able to sneak past the bouncers eventually and
Eventually,
get
yeah.
into the aid station.
But I got a chance to talk to several crew members and a couple of runners as well. Talked to Sarah Ostazuski, Zach and Nicole Bitter, Annie Hughes, talking about Bree Grigsby. Talked with Bree, talked with Arlen, met his family, at least the members I hadn't met. And it was generally a very enjoyable, positive experience. Yeah, Natalia, thanks for, if you were tuning in through the middle of the night last night, we were just looking for a way to try and bring something because we didn't have any camera footage on course. We had a couple still cams in the aid station, but we needed something with a little bit more energy. And AGW and I can talk up a storm, but there's only so far we can go with that.
Yeah.
So, we had a lot of fun.
Lori Andrew, you're right. Kyle Andrew, excellent finish, bib number 405. He finished, as happens, while we were changing the stream. So Kyle Andrew, congratulations on a great finish. Let me just get up here and mention the time. Indeed, that's one of those things that just happens. We happen to be switching at exactly the time that that certain people finish. So Kyle Andrew with an impressive finish at 33 hours and 21 minutes, 33:21. In terms of what we were talking about in terms of the cutoffs, right, and the fact that realistically people are taking 2 hours at this stage of the race to get from Mount Werner to the finish. We had an athlete just now hit. It's John von Bokern, hit at 33:50, hit Mount Bokern, at Mount Werner. He's got 2 hours and 10 minutes to get down the hill. I suspect he probably will. A couple runners at 33:50, Christopher Hannaford and Sally Nelson, another pair that grouped up, both finishing in 33:50. 33:50. It looks like they paired up just right at the end. And as I mentioned, Tim Pearl and Eric Hall finished, and squeezing in between them, Craig Berberich. Craig Berberich finishing in 33:49. The other thing is, I hope, and I assume they will, that the aid station volunteers at Mount Werner are imploring those runners not to spend a whole lot of time at that aid station if they want to get an official finish.
V Vega trying to make it weird at the finish line. Full rabbit costumes, not just rabbit ears. As somebody who has worn full costume for an extended period of time at a finish line, when it gets warm in the mountains, do not recommend.
Yeah. Just did a quick count. We have 18 runners now between Long Lake and Mount Werner. 18 runners between Long Lake and Mount Werner.
Yeah, full costumes for extended periods of time at the finish of 100 milers. It's rough. Hashtag Mogian Monster. Now that I can go with a 25-foot tall inflatable rabbit.
Ooh, yes.
I'm down with that.
That's not a demon. It's a bunny rabbit. Indeed. Get me a shrubbery. who say nay. We are no longer the knights who say nay. We are now the knights who say nay. We've hit it, folks.
We've reached that time of the race.
Bring out your dead. Bring out your dead. That might be what they're saying up there at Mount Werner these days.
Yeah, give it another hour.
Yeah.
Someone should be out at Dona with a cart.
Oh man,
We've come
That's
for
cool.
your liver,
That's
but I'm using it.
oh boy. I think we've all just hit that point.
Okay, everybody, I'll stop.
No, everybody loves it. Are you serious? Look at the response.
Watch YouTube cancel us right now. and you thought me and Mike McMonagle's nickname was bad.
Yeah, people are loving it.
Oh goodness.
Can we get our camera back on the finish? Awesome.
Yeah, we don't need it on us.
Looks like we have a couple finishers.
Yep.
Where did we leave off?
I've got this another pair, Matthew Newland and Jody Davis, if I'm scanning that right.
Sounds right. Yeah.
Yep, they came across together in 33.54. Again, we were talking about folks coming across together. Of the last 7 finishers, 6 of them came across in groups of 2, 2, and 2, who were not necessarily running together in lockstep all day.
Looks like our next finisher might be, I don't know. Can you catch that name, HAW?
Oh, William. No. Come on, William. We're pulling for you.
Yes, that is William Nee that we're expecting to come in next. The stuff writes itself, folks.
We do not believe, Justin Andreas, that there's ever been a Run Rabbit Run where the winning tortoise has a faster time than the winning hare.
It would be extremely
It'd
surprising.
be amazing, but
Yeah. It would be somebody who grossly underestimated their capabilities.
right.
Because if you're running the race as a tortoise, there's no prize money. If you're in a race as a hare, you could win $15,000.
Yeah. Yes, Megan, we're sorry to go off topic. We are going to go back to the runners. We're doing that right now. As I mentioned, the most recent finishers were Matthew and Jody. Matthew Newland and Jody Davis. And we're expecting anytime Nathan Epperson, who's had a kind of wonky tracking all day, so we're not sure. William Nee, and I know Brett Harp has some fans in the chat. Brett Harp is closing in on the finish. Got good drone shot on this finisher. See how he does on the step down. Those of you just joining us, there's a little step down. He's about to go down. Yep. Step down.
I haven't had a lot of caffeine lately, to be honest. No, the hares can have poles. They can't have pacers.
Right. They've allowed polls.
If you ask some of the old school hares back in their day,
Yeah.
looks like we have another finisher. We will.
Yeah, my
Get
back
done.
hurts. That was a change just maybe this year or maybe just last year
Our
for
two-
allowing them to use polls.
Our 2 most recent finishers, 186 and 187th place, Michael Chavez and Jeremy Gleason, the 149 and 150th men to finish Run Rabbit Run in the Tortoise division.
Runners have about an hour now, just over an hour, to get to Mount Werner. There are 12 runners between Long Lake and Mount Werner that have to cover that in less than an hour. Our most recent runner hit Mount Werner, actually a pair of runners, Pam Spire and Elizabeth Buckman, in 33:56. So they have 2 hours and 4 minutes to plummet down the mountain. Oh, they're a trio. Kiran Hanumaya is with them as well. Kiran Hanumaya, Pam Spire, and Elizabeth Buckman, most recent to reach Mount Werner in 33:56, with 2 hours and 4 minutes to get down the hill.
3 more finishers coming through. Peter Shearhouse, Kevin Flannery, and Bob Gentile finishing in 33:58.
Yeah, all together. That's a trio. We know that Kevin and Bob ran the whole race together.
That's right.
It looks like Peter joined them just at the end. Looks like they reeled him in. They reeled Peter in, and Peter tagged along for that nice finish, sub 34.
Yeah, Jody just finished as well. We did call Jody out, so I think she finished just a few moments ago. So Nathan Epperson, I think you covered this, hit Werner in 29:55.
Okay, so 29:50.
So he should be finishing here real soon. Well,
yes. I mean, that would be a 4.
His tracker's weird.
Because that would be a 4-hour descent.
In his time?
We've got some questions about
walking backwards.
Yeah. We have 2 hours left on the clock. 1 hour left to get Mount Werner. But as we've spoken about, nobody in this last rash of finishers, for example, has gotten from Mount Werner to the finish in less than an hour and 45 minutes. Not to put a wet blanket on things, but really, if you're not at Mount Werner and starting your descent down in the next 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think you need 90 minutes, to be fair.
Yeah. Or let's say 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to make it.
I mean, if they're able to walk aggressively, they could pull out a 17, 18-minute mile. If they're able to actually shuffle, they could get down in 15 per, I think. Mm-hmm. It'll be miserable. It'll be a lot of pain, but I think that they could do that. It's just that I agree with you there. Any more time than that, and they're probably not going to have a shot. Another finisher or two. Might have been a finisher and a pacer.
Yep. Our first 34-hour finisher, Andrea Moore in 34:02. Again, not to beat a dead horse, but almost exactly 2 hours from Mount Werner to the finish line.
Was that Andrea Moore?
Yep.
Andrea Moore was our friend from Black Canyon.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, we ran into Andrea at the finish of Black Canyon. We ran into her again downstairs.
Yeah.
I ran into her at her place of work in Flagstaff one time.
Andrea Moore's everywhere.
Yeah. And if you look at her ultra sign up, she is going to be everywhere moving forward. See if I can pull it up really quick. So today he finished.
Drone pilots going back and forth, fast and furious, as these runners that are about 2 hours, hour and 45 to 2 hours off of Mount Werner are coming down this road.
So for the next year, Andrea has Haviland 100, the Black Canyon Double, Cocodona, and the Triple Crown.
Oh,
Beast mode.
indeed.
Had a great race today.
Absolutely.
Got out there and got it done 34 hours. If you can do 34 hours here, then I think you're set up for success.
Looked really steady. Got to the Olympian first time in 16 hours. Went around the loop in about 4.5 hours, and actually kept it really steady from Olympian the second time in.
Actually, interestingly, so she took 156 to get up Werner at the beginning of the race. She took 158 to get down.
To get down it. Yeah.
That's being steady right there. That's how you pace.
We have someone asked in the chat about Shane Doyle and Mason Reamer, their training partners. They have just finished in 34:03, and it looks like they got a third member of their trio to join them for this final little bit, Chris Simmons. Chris Simmons, who was about 12 minutes behind them at Mount Werner. It looks like Shane and Mason reeled in Chris, and they all finished together in a group of three at 34:03.
And we're back on the John G. Skycam, catching that last stretch of the descent from the mountain. You could see at the top of the screen where they're coming from.
Mm-hmm. Again, we learned earlier that Mason and Shane train together all the time, and literally their splits through the entire day, night and day, were identical. Great finish. Looks like they were very disciplined, and then Chris Simmons joined them for the end. This runner's moving well. Looking very 50 mile-ish to me.
Absolutely.
Aaron Rambo is the first runner over Mount Werner after the 34-hour mark, 34:02. Aaron Rambo has hit the aid station at the top of the mountain.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we see some soon appearances from this final. Looks like it's about 5, 10, 11 runners who have hit Long Lake but not yet made it to Mount Werner.
That's about the number?
Yeah.
Okay. Want to mention Steve Rossi, our 72-year-old runner, hit Mount Werner at 32:51, so about an hour and 15 minutes ago. He's on his way to the finish line. 72-year-old Steve Rossi.
We've got 50 runners between Werner and the finish.
William Luder is one of our 60 and overs. He hit Werner in 33:18, so just about 50 minutes ago, 5-0. And Valerie Abrati is actually one of our 60-year-old runners, and one of the ones that Chris has referred to is en route between Long Lake and Werner. We have a finisher here. Looks like a tortoise trot for sure, coming through the finish line. Looks like he's lucky enough to get his hug from Fred. Another finisher. Another hug from Fred. Another finisher. Should get these names and times very shortly. Brett Harp. I don't think he's finished yet. I think he's very close. Let me confirm that. I did mention his name because I knew he was closing. Brett Harp. We don't have a finish split on him yet. We do know he went through Mount Werner at 31:30, so about 2 hours and 40 minutes ago. Expect him here any minute. Right. A few more finishers. Another partner group. Michael McGinn and Rebecca Schwantes. Michael McGinn and Rebecca Schwantes finishing in 34:09. They were running close to each other from about Summit Lake in. And then a minute after them at 34:10, we have Greg Opgenorth. Greg Opgenorth in 34:10. Now, at the risk of disproving my point of this descent, our most recent finisher, Greg Opgenorth, made the descent in an hour and 20 minutes.
And Rebecca Schwantes, about an hour and 35.
Okay. So I'm gonna
Hour
I'm gonna
40.
go with you. I'm gonna go with I think 6:30 is about the time you need to hit Werner.
That's fair. So we're hoping that basically the 11 or so remaining runners, to give themselves a puncher's chance, they need to get to Werner by the bottom of the hour.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, Greg Opgenorth is about as fast as anybody in the last 2 hours has made that descent.
Oh, for sure. And another one of those runners who was almost as fast going up the hill as he was going down.
Patrick Lamb is in. Our 199th finisher in the Tortoise division at 34:12.
You might hear some sound in the background. That would be the volunteers bringing in the drop bags from other remote aid here on the Run Rapid Run course.
Stacy Rother asking about Nick Hawes. Nick had a very nice finish, tidy 33:23. So he finished about an hour ago, about 50 minutes ago, right around the same time as Kyle Andrew. Unfortunately, while we were switching our stream. So great finish for Nick. They're coming into Werner quickly now. A pair, Lisa Western and Joshua Quarterman, coming through there at 34:13. So they've got an hour and 47 minutes to make the descent. And we had Jaron Weisenberger's mom on the chat. I'm sure she's still on there. He's close. He's close. We hope he can get through Werner in the next 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes.
And if you're interested in a certain runner, whether they finished or not, you can check to see the runner tracking via the link that's pinned at the top of the chat as well. We'll do our best to engage and make sure that we share what we know, but in all honesty, what you see there is what we know. We're down to 8 runners that have not yet hit Werner Aid. Looks like our most recent one, Joshua Quartermain. That means we might have lost somebody along the way. That's weird.
Yeah, I think there were some 27, 28 hour people that have been bounced down to drop.
Yeah, it looks like Donovan Unsel hit Long Lake at 28:40, mile 89, and dropped. That's unfortunate.
That is.
Donovan had, at that point, 7 hours, 20 minutes to go the final 10 miles. Hope he's okay.
I don't know if this is right, but how about Mackenzie Bartholomew, who hit Mount Werner in 32:56 and dropped?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to get some clarification on some of these timing numbers because Mackenzie also hadn't registered a number since Olympian 1.
Alicia Quiros got a nice finish in 34:13.
Great job.
Just after Patrick Lamb. Still skeptical of Nathan Epperson's tracker. Oh, do we have a leaner? Just a lean forwarder. He looks
That's
okay.
a forward lean.
That's a forward lean, which is much less dangerous than the sideways lean.
It's like Stephen Park at Cocodona type of lean.
He's got his hands up. He's celebrating.
He's moving.
Oh, is this? William Luter, we think, one of our 60-year-olds.
No, I'm getting a heads up from Jason Peters that this might be our septuagenarian.
Our 70-year-old. Oh, goodness.
Is this Steve Rossi? If so, Steve turned on the jets heading down that hill.
72 years young.
Let's get confirmation on this for sure. A lot of celebration at the finish line. Yeah. Looks like our most recent finisher was Stephen Bush. And you said William Luter as well, right?
I did.
Yeah.
William Luter with an early start 35-17. Remember, they started at 7 a.m. yesterday, so you just
That's right.
add an hour to their 34-hour time.
Our most recent finishers coming across about 2 hours after they checked in at Werner. So, again, these runners that are making their way to Werner really need to step on the gas.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that was Stephen Rossi.
Stephen Rossi, 72 years old.
35, 18, 34. Stephen Rossi, 72 years old, renders all your excuses moot. Love to see it. Renders mine moot too. Yeah, Sarah mentioning that she'll never forget Stephen Park. There are certain finishes that you'll never forget. We talked about some of the earlier. Gunhild, Karen Bonet at Western States is another one. Sonia Glover at Heaven 100. Some of these really gritty, emotional moments, whether they finish in time or not.
Even with the early start that both William and Steve took, they finished in sub 36.
That's amazing.
Granting them both Western States and Hard Rock qualifiers, double dippers here at Run Rabbit Run.
I'd like to see one or both of them get into one or both of those races.
I certainly would.
Of course.
And we're 40 minutes away from the hard cutoff at Mount Werner, but in reality, it's more like 10.
So we're down to 6. Jared
6
Weissenberger
runners.
and Cassidy Birdsong have made it to Mount Werner Aid. Hopefully in and out. They'll need to hustle. We are waiting on 6 more. They are, okay, let me rephrase that. We're waiting on 6 more to hit the last aid station and make that cutoff. They are Kristen Bailey, John Scott, Valerie Abrati, Tatiana Mele, Stephen Rogers, and David Morin.
Yes, if any of you in the chat know them. Okay, Jared Weissenberger made it to Mount Werner.
They heard us.
Cassidy Birdsong made it to Mount Werner. Squeezed in another finisher. Nick Javahirian. Sorry about that. 34:20.
Also, David Danby, 34:21.
As the shadows lengthen on that beautiful shot of the finish line area.
It's going to be dark by 8.
Yes. But barely.
We have 44 runners between Werner and the finish right now.
Mm-hmm.
50, we believe, still on course entirely.
With our most recent to check into Werner, Cassidy Birdsong in 34:19.
Shifting back to the finish line cam. So we have somebody coming in. We will confirm that runner here momentarily.
What great work for those two, the 60 and 70-year-old William and Steve.
For sure.
It's really cool to see. This is not an easy 100-miler by any means for a person of any age.
But if you get it done and you're capable, you could run it every other year and another 100-mile or Western States qualifier, and eventually get in via the lottery system.
Mm-hmm.
Another couple runners.
Handful more through Mount Werner in a pair in 34:13. Lisa Western and Josh Quarterman. Oh, no, it's the same ones. We're waiting on Kristen Bailey and John Scott and Valerie Abrady and Tatiana Melee and Stephen Rogers and David Marin. Those are our last 6 that need to get to Werner.
Yeah, as we were saying, this is about the time they need to get there. And not only get there, but depart.
But get out of there.
Luckily, this last portion of the course, they shouldn't need too much.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe grab a bite to eat, top off the water, be on your way. Hopefully you won't need any sort of full service care or anything heading into Werner Aid on your way back down the hill.
Yeah. And we got to know Sarah a little bit when we had her on the couch yesterday, aid station captain up there. I suspect she knows she has to get him out of there.
That's an excellent point. I hadn't even thought about that. Sarah Pizzo.
Yep. She's up there, and she's got her eye on the clock. Yeah.
Of course, we met Sarah through the magic of live streaming yesterday when she was sharing her knowledge of this course. Number 1 as a competitor. Number 2 as an aid station captain.
And that's part of why I was asking her if there was cell phone service up there or anything, if she could kind of on the sly call stuff into us. Because this is going to be a frenetic last hour, I think.
For sure. And she's not shy about commenting in the chat. That's how we met her.
Yep, that's great.
Also an accomplished runner in her own right, as we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the drone shot of 1 or 2 runners possibly coming in. Looks like somebody on the right-hand side filming. They're making that right turn across the bridge. Then making that left on Birch or
and the step down.
And the step down. Every race has its own little nuances that we see at the finish line. Western States, you've got the track.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Oh, there's a
Cocodona left on Birch. This is the step down.
Hard Rock. You've got Kissing the Rock.
Yep.
David Danby, by the way, is another runner proving me wrong. He made it down the hill in an hour and 25. It's possible.
I think that it's just a sense of desperation, perhaps,
Yeah,
setting
yeah.
in. Maybe some of these runners right now are like, I got this, I got my qualifiers, and I don't want to hurt myself.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas some of these runners that are coming in might be full send.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zach Marion in the chat. Hopefully you caught Zach in some of his on-course contributions this weekend. Zach is an amazing field correspondent. Knows the sport, loves the sport. Came into the studio and hung out with Jason Schlarb this weekend, who also did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Was this Jason's first time being
Yeah,
on commentary?
sure was.
And we threw him to the
As he
wolves
said, it
for
was
like
his first talking ultra.
we threw him to the wolves for like 15 hours.
We did.
Not consecutively, but that's a lot of time.
2 whoppers. I think he had one. He had an 11-hour because he showed up at 5 this morning and went until maybe 7. 7 plus 7, maybe 14, 15 total hours. And Zach was up and down mountains and
Yeah, Zach incorporated actual physical labor in it with it.
yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of concerned that our runner tracking has
Oh, don't do it
lagged
to us
again.
now.
Right?
This is not the time for the tracker to get jacked
Into the ocean.
into the ocean.
Wait, we have a new finisher, Lindsay Romero, 34-30-16.
Okay, good.
Congratulations, Lindsay. We're still sitting at 6. 6 runners that need to get the heck out of Werner because we've hit that 90-minute mark.
Mm-hmm.
And as recent finishers have shown, it can be done, but it takes everything you got.
Yeah.
Lindsay, for instance, our most recent finisher, took 2:10. If a runner takes 2:10 from now, they
Yep,
miss the
sure.
cutoff.
Yep.
These
Not going
runners,
to make it.
these runners have 88 minutes to get from wherever they're at across that finish line.
Stephen Bush took 2 hours and 1 minute.
The ones I'm worried about is there are, I believe, 1 or 2 early birds that
Yeah, there's Valerie Abrady, for example, on the way between Long Lake and Mount Werner.
I mean, as it stands, everybody on the course at this point is 90 miles in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a hell of an effort regardless.
But again, in terms of, we've been talking a lot about what we consider the realistic cutoff, but the hard cutoff is 7 p.m. at Werner.
Yeah.
And that's 27 minutes from now. Amanda Weisenberger checking in on Jared. He is on his way, first time 100 miler. Looks like we have a pair of runners just finishing, getting their Fred hugs. I think I see 2 bibs rather than bib and a pacer. We'll confirm that in a second. Oh, no, it's pacer bib. Pacer and a runner.
I will say this. I'm kind of scanning through the Tortoise side, but it's been a long time since somebody on the Tortoise side has made that descent in an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has been. We had a couple of 120s that I pointed, or a 1:1:20 and 1:1:25.
Yeah. So we're just hoping and crossing our fingers at this point because we just kind of eyeballed the idea of 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of people have done it in 80, but we are getting real close.
Yeah. Josh Jordan was the gentleman with the large beard who just came through with the pacer. Josh Jordan, 34-33. 34-33. Congratulations, Josh.
Beautiful shot from the John G Skycam.
An hour and 42 he did the descent in. So, you know, I tell you, it'd be nice to have a pacer if you're trying to push that downhill.
We've got 42 runners on the course through Werner. So 42 runners that are on the descent. The most recent was Cassidy Birdsong, who made it through there about 14 minutes ago. So I would give the ones who have gotten through it to this point, because it's been a while, a decent shot. Lisa Western, Joshua Quartermain, Jared Weisenberger, Cassidy Birdsong. They can make it, but they gotta hustle. Gotta fight through that pain. We're speaking from experience here too.
Yeah.
You know, we've had those situations where we've either had to, in my case, chase cutoffs, or in your case, fend off M11. You know, so for those that are in the know. But yeah, it's definitely go time for all of these runners on the course.
A fan in the chat of Rachel Ellerman. Rachel is through Mount Werner in 33:48. So 2 hours and 12 minutes to do the descent. Doable, but she has to move.
Frank has a question for AJW, and I've heard some stories, but has AJW ever had to ultra shuffle, stagger, limp, lean to finish 100?
Ooh. I got a good one for you, Frank. In the 2017 Bighorn 100, it was a really, really bad, muddy year. And about mile 62, I slipped and fell in the mud and banged my head on a rock. And turned out I had a concussion. And I convinced them to let me continue, but they made me get checked at every aid station, like go into the medical tent and do the concussion protocol and everything else. And by the time I got to that heinous 5-mile road at the end, I was just physically and mentally and emotionally just spent. So I finished. I hobbled in. It was like 33 hours or something. That was a rough day, but I got it done.
Of course, you know, we've talked many times about some of your adventures at Western States, you know, like I just said, fending off fierce challenges for your right to return the next year.
Yeah.
All sorts of stories like that.
The worst of which was when I got 10th place and 11th place was only 24 seconds behind.
Man.
Victor Ballesteros. By the way, we've been following this for a long time. Lots of his people following him in the chat. Brett Harp has gotten it in 34-36. I don't think it was pretty. He was over 3 hours from the top of Werner to the finish.
Yeah.
But Brett Harp, you are a Run Rabbit Run finisher.
Congratulations to Brett. The 206th finisher, taking early birds into account.
Yeah, good job, Brett Harp. We had a lot of people following him on the chat.
And as we mentioned, HEW and I can call what we believe in terms of what a runner at this point is going to be able to do. But the official cutoff for Mount Werner is not till the top of the hour. Runners won't be pulled until that point. What?
They're not pulled at Werner if they don't make it till 7?
Well, I'm just saying they won't be DNFs until the top of the hour, even if
right. They can
make it down.
Absolutely. Okay, sorry, I misunderstood.
Our thought is that it would be incredibly difficult for a runner to make it down at this point in an hour. We just would have to see something that we wouldn't expect. I guess that's the best way to put it.
That's a way. I mean, the runners that are through now, with the latest being through at 34:19, we would give them a shot, an hour and 41 minutes to do that descent. I'd say anybody else, the thought of doing an hour and 20, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, that's an 11-minute mile for somebody who has taken, 35 hours to go the first 95.
At the risk of being too much of a wet blanket, I just think it's a tough ask.
I think it's realistic. I think that we've seen a lot of these races and we know how things work. But we're rooting for everybody. We'd love to see everybody on the course right now finish. That would make us absolutely ecstatic. To have something to cheer for down to the last second, that's excitement. That's what this race is all about. What the sport is all about. But we're going to keep our eyes across the board here, and hopefully most of these runners, if not all, that have hit Werner are able to make it to the finish.
I do think as we enter the golden hour in 19 minutes, we are going to see the fast and furious finishers continue to come streaming in. We'll do our best. Our drone team will do their best to get up and down and get eyes on as many finishers as possible, like we're seeing right here. People moving well. And again, we assume when we see two runners, it's a runner and a pacer, but it could very well be runners that have paired up, because we've seen that happen a lot.
For sure. We'll do our best to identify these runners as quickly as possible. We don't have eyes in their bibs directly at the finish line, but with runner tracking and the tools at our disposal, we can try and give everybody a heads up on who they are. And for those of you who have been hanging out for the last 35 or so hours, thanks.
Thank you.
We've been having fun. It's been long. It's been
a little bit of an ultra.
It's been work.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. But sometimes you can do something you love.
I love the sport so much. I mean, just being around it, just seeing the drama and the human spirit alive and well. I mean, I've been privileged to get to a lot of races this summer, and I'm honored and humbled and privileged every single time.
Eric the Reed actually has an excellent point, and I think I might be the test case for this. Some people literally chase cutoff, so if they see they don't have to hold it back. I've seen it. As somebody who has 5 years into the Western States Lottery and 5 years of golden hour finishes in his qualifiers,
you're a living example of it.
I am the test case. And this is why these are my people out there. These are the people who I grind in the back of the pack with. I mean, we have these ultra running legends such as Jason Schlarb, AJW, Zach Marion, and then there's me. You're not going to see me on any podiums, no matter how hard you look. You can go back through my ultra sign up. You might find one or two that I backdoored because there were 5 people in the race. But these people who are grinding it out, these are the people I share my dirt with. And so I'm a huge fan of it.
These finishers look happy, can't quite see the bib number. They could be 50 milers. I was kind of hoping that they weren't, just because we're just hoping for as many finishers to get down this mountain as possible. They've got 15 minutes to get to Mount Werner, which gives them an hour to get down here.
As a wise man once said, Come on down.
Yes, indeed. Laura Chancellor is looking for bib 841. Chris, you're faster at technology than me. Her name is 841's
That would
name.
be
Alana Klingman.
Yep.
33:49 through Werner. It's a nail biter, but she's got 2 hours and 11 minutes.
I like her chances.
Yep. We've got fans in the chat of Rachel Ellerman, who is was just 1 minute ahead of Alana at Werner. Maybe they can group up. Grouping up is always a good idea, especially if you're racing a cutoff like this.
I think the way that I'm kind of processing it in my head is that if they've got 2 hours, I feel good about their chances. If they've got an hour 45, I'm okay with it. Hour 30, they're going to have to do the work.
Yeah. And then there's all kinds of intangibles. How are their feet? It says the first time they've done a 3,000-foot downhill all day. A lot of it's hard surface. How are their quads? Is their stomach going to hold together? Can they get away with cutting as much weight out of their pack as possible? Take one bottle, drop some stuff at the aid station and get it later. You've got to be thinking that. Make sure you have a headlamp. It still might get a little bit dark by the end. I think you've got to have your wits about you, but you've also just got to go.
Yeah. Nothing is going to substitute.
This is also a place. If I was advising a runner and they had a pacer with them, I would say, put the pacer in the front. Put the pacer in the front. Get your eyes on their heels and just go.
These pacers have to know exactly what they're doing right here.
The pacer has to know the course, has to keep their eye on the markers at all time. Don't screw that up. Keep an eye on the clock. Keep an eye on other runners.
We're getting excited.
Get down the mountain. Absolutely.
Get down the hill.
Get down the hill.
Man, I'm amped.
We are 13 minutes away from Run Rabbit Run 100-mile 2023 Golden Hour.
Love doing the Golden Hour coverage. It gets emotional.
It is the best.
It tugs at your heartstrings when you see somebody coming through and grinding, when you can see them on the course and you're watching the clock at the same time and you're wondering, can they do it? They've got maybe an hour, or maybe they've got, whether it be maybe 10 minutes with a kilometer to go and they're just wrecked. Like, that's the kind of situation where you get really emotional and really invested in what you're seeing, because and you're cheering for these runners. We want them all to finish.
We totally do. We totally do.
Absolutely.
And the scene that we're looking at right here with this beautiful green grass and this creek, it looks bucolic, but these runners don't give a crap about what it looks like. They just need to get
very
through it
down there.
They need to get through it.
We haven't had a finisher in a few minutes register. We'll keep an eye out.
Yeah, it's really been 12 minutes since Brett Harp got through. That's actually a pretty long time, but I think we've got a couple right here.
That would be fantastic. We could use some. Make it happen. Get it done.
Yeah, the total number, by the way, is right around 208. 208 finishers in the Tortoise race. There's another one coming across. Hands on head. Hug.
Got it done.
Oh, this is great. This is great. Run Rabbit Run has not disappointed. Charles Rambo checking in from Finland. Oh, you're up late or early, as the case may be, but nervously watching for Aaron Rambo. I saw Aaron a little while ago.
Aaron Rambo hit the aid station at Werner at 34:02.
So he's on
2 hours.
On 2 hours.
On the clock.
He's on the clock. Charles, we're nervously watching as well. I would give him a significantly better than 50% chance that he makes it. But Jamison Family Farms chiming in for Aaron Rambo as well. Only he knows
If you
the
have
pain that he's feeling right now.
if you have an in to his pacer, if he's got a pacer, you tell them you shoot them a message and
Yeah,
tell them to leave it all
Yep.
out there.
yeah, run.
Most recent finishers, we have a couple to report. Looks like Veneer Bansali and Jeffrey Merrick finishing in 34-48. Congratulations to the two of you. You have punched your ticket to the lotteries.
They finished together.
About 30 seconds apart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Morgan Hayes, you're referring to Brett. Who's the Brett you're referring to? Brett Harp? He's finished.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Brett got it done. I don't think it was pretty. Or you could be referring to Brett Tinkham. Brett Tinkham was through Mount Werner in 33:17. I would say he's got it in the bag, but there's nothing in the bag at this point. But
No.
he's in that comfort zone, having 2 hours and 43 minutes to make the descent.
Brian Mott, bib 604. Somebody looking for him in the chat. Came to Werner at 33:12. Should be in good shape.
Should be in good shape.
That
Although
gives-
the sandals and cool hair might be an issue. Just kidding. Just kidding. He's a New Yorker. I'm a New Yorker too.
I went through a Luna phase.
I'm sure you did.
My favorite was when
Here's a step down. Let's see the red shirt step down. Not bad.
that's the feeling at step down. Gonna run it in, look good for the cameras.
Amanda Buchholz snuck in just a few seconds after Veneer and Jeffrey. So Amanda Buchholz is in the house, 44th place female.
Scott Burke as well, 34:50.
All right, Scott.
Our finish right here. We'll identify this runner as soon as we can. We haven't had anybody else check in through Werner Aid. We still are sitting at 6 there. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
But-
there's been a few runners with questionable tracking, so you never know. Remember how we were looking at Aguirre a little while ago, and he immediately bumped over to Werner.
Yeah.
And is looking comfortable to make it, or at least he's on that 2-ish hour bubble.
Yeah, because the way things are showing right now, we have multiple runners that are showing us having last hit Werner 4 hours ago.
Yeah.
And that's questionable.
Yeah, so you take Stephen Aguirre, for example. We never got a long lake split for him, but he hit Werner in 33:55. So he's on that 2 hour and 5 minute to get down.
Yeah.
But still, been a long time since a new runner. Last one was Cassidy Birdsong at 34:19. We're now half an hour past that and haven't had a runner hit Werner. You hope they don't throw up their hands and say, I'm not going to make it, so I'm just going to sit here. But sometimes the mind is a powerful thing.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when you've been up for 34 hours and running and in the mountains and sleep deprived and hypoxic and nauseous and just hating life.
I feel like you're reminiscing.
Yeah. Here comes a little drone shot with some more finishers coming in.
Congratulations to Mitchell Cohen. That was our most recent finisher.
All right, Mitchell.
And while we're doing our best to cover these runners, if you're interested in taking a look in the field at large, you can do so at the runner tracking at the top of the chat. There's a link that'll take you right there to the 100-mile Tortoise, 100-mile Hare, 50-mile, and the team challenge. Of course, the Hare race is completed. All of the runners have either made it in or did not finish. The team challenge is completed because that's all hares. The 50 milers have until 9 p.m. Unfortunately, we just don't have the bandwidth to cover that race at length. We might
Especially here as we roll into the golden hour. It's just
exactly, yeah. And the tortoise race is still going on. About 5 minutes from the golden hour, where runners are doing their darndest to get their tickets punched to the Western States and Hard Rock lotteries.
still
Okay.
looking quite festive out there.
So, Deborah, the cutoff for this race is 36 hours. However, the clock that you're looking at in the upper right-hand corner is going to read 32 because that clock is tied into the hares race versus the tortoise race. The tortoise race started at 8 a.m.
8 a.m.
and those runners have 36 hours. So this race is going to finish at 8 p.m. local time, which is about an hour and 4 minutes away.
Again, Run Rabbit Run 2023 100 miler. Steamboat Springs. I'm Andy Jones Wilkins. This is Chris Warden. We are going to be super excited to hit this golden hour. We are biting our nails just like the rest of you.
My goal is to not cry.
Yeah.
I'm
Here.
not even joking.
He's not joking. He's a bit of a crybaby when it comes to these things.
Oh, yeah. I cry at everything, so especially something where I can just put myself in their shoes. You know, you put it all out there, leave it all out there to get that finish. And, you know, it's hard not to have that feel and want to go register for a race.
Finisher coming in.
Let's see if we can identify that finisher. Yeah, we're looking at potentially maybe close to 40 finishers in this golden hour. Looks like that was Greg Briggs, 34, 54, 56. Congratulations, Greg.
So David Morin just made it to/through Werner in 34:52.
Oh boy.
Now he made good time from Long Lake to Werner, so he's moving well, but that may be too big of an ask.
Yeah, that's from Long Lake to Werner.
Yeah.
He was averaging about 18. And from what I understand, that's a fairly rugged area, exposed.
So I would say he's got a shot, but it's an outside shot.
That's fair. I'll take it.
Yeah. But he's through. And I'm guessing those other five
They would have to
sadly
be
not going to be in the mix.
Yeah, they'd have to be out of the station in the next
Yeah.
minute and a half. And then have to get down the hill in an hour, which, as we mentioned, has been done, but not by runners in the mid back of the pack.
Yeah.
And like you said, we're not being wet blankets. We've just seen a lot.
Yeah. Greg Briggs. Did you get Greg Briggs' finish?
I did. Yeah, Greg Briggs, congratulations
Nice
to
job.
him from Tustin, California. Isn't
Oh,
that
nice.
Western States country?
No, Tustin is more sort of Central Valley.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was I thinking of, what's the T? Truckee?
Yeah, maybe Truckee.
Okay. Yeah.
You haven't been to California much.
Nope.
Another finish. Sneaking in under the 35-hour mark. Another shout out for Aaron Rambo. Crowd favorite, Aaron is.
Oh, who doesn't like Rambo?
Yeah, everybody likes Rambo. What's Drone doing? Looking for a marmot? Dropped his keys.
Keep it away from our wiring. Our latest finisher, Nicole Hopkins, 34:58.10. Congratulations. And we're in the golden hour.
We're here. Welcome, everybody, to the golden hour, one of the most emotionally exciting, nerve-wracking, and invigorating and inspiring hours in our sport. The last hour before the final cutoff of any ultra is something to behold. We'll do our best to give it to you to the extent that we can as darkness falls on Steamboat Springs. But here we are, an hour to go. We just had our most recent finisher, as Chris mentioned, Nicole Hopkins in sub 35.
We
It's
are
looking
looking
like 25 to 30 runners are through Werner.
Yeah, looks like maybe 30 potentially. Kristen Bailey is our most recent finisher, 34:59. She came in just under the golden hour.
Just under 35.
But yeah, these runners have just under an hour. And Run Rabbit Run, aside from the cash purse that the front of the pack was competing for, this is an important race. It's a double qualifier for those that aren't familiar. You qualify for two of the most significant races in American ultra running by finishing this race. The lotteries, anyways. Western States and Hard Rock. Only a handful of races across the country are double qualifiers.
Yeah.
And that's why these races are tough. These aren't just 100 milers. These are 100 milers with mountain elements, with steep climbs, with exposure. Anybody finishing this race has earned it.
Chris, I want to just jump in.
Sure.
You're absolutely right, because the recent finisher you just announced, Kristen Bailey, you'll note she had no time at Werner. So again, on the tracking, she was 30:15 at Long Lake, but she's a finisher, and she was one of those 5 that we were tracking that to get to Werner in time. So
that's a good point.
We don't know about those 4 that are not through. There may have been a tracking issue at Long Lake, and we still may see them bump over. So we do know, though, that Kristen is a finisher.
Congratulations to Kristen Bailey. And if you look at her numbers, they track pretty close to those around her in terms of finishing. So it makes sense.
Jason Jackson's got some fans in the chat. He hit Werner at 32:17. He should be here.
Very soon.
Yep.
We're figuring for the back of the Packers, a good case scenario is 2 hours.
Yeah.
And at this point, Jason would be taking about 2:45. We don't know if they're hanging out up there to prep for the trip down, recomposing themselves. But if somebody like Jason gets there at 32:17, should be in good shape.
Yep. Another runner making that turn.
Our golden hour is going to be intense, and it's going to get more and more intense as time goes on. And one of the things about being a back of the pack run a race such as this is we experience a different set of circumstances than a lot of faster runners. You know, a lot of a lot of ultra runners who are able to run 100 miles in 12, 14 hours, 15 hours. They're not used to being out there for 30 plus hours, 35 plus hours. It's hard. Looks like we have a couple of finishers. Leopoldo Martinez, 35 hours, 37 seconds. And William Cocken, 3501. Congratulations. 2 of you have punched your tickets to the lotteries.
Nice.
We've got another runner or 2 coming in. Looking good.
Yep, there's a nice runner hitting that corner.
Looks like he feels great. We will ID this runner as soon as we can.
And the hugs keep coming. The tradition here is the clock doesn't stop until you're hugged at the finish line. Nice tradition. I think for COVID, they did fist bumps for a couple of years, but they're back to the hugs.
Got another runner, took the steps a little bit gingerly, but nice shuffle around the corner, heading into the finish.
Mm-hmm.
And aces work by Jordan flipping those camera shots, giving us the best of both.
Green bibs.
Those are the 50 milers. So congratulations to them. Absolutely. I don't think we might not be covering the 50-mile race, but 50
Still a
miles
tough
isn't easy.
50-mile course. And of course, it's the original Run Rabbit Run. I mean, the 50-miler has been around for 25, 30 years. This is a group making their way down the road. Probably a runner's entourage.
As
we're just going to walk it in.
As we noted earlier, the runners can have people accompany them if they take the lift up and run down the hill with them. Although at this point, I would hope that the people accompanying them are fully of the understanding that they're
going to have to move.
Yeah. So yeah,
more Aaron Rambo fans. The guy's a true crowd favorite.
Absolutely. We're looking at about maybe 35 or so people on course at this point.
Wow.
Our golden hour is going to be lit.
Aaron got through Werner in 34:02. So he's one of our needs to run sub 2 to get it done. This finisher is just walking it in, but that's a finish nonetheless.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter how you do it. No style points in 100-mile mountain running.
Jordan, can you remove our quit panel? Thanks. We have a weird little window prompt in the middle of our screen, so sometimes with the drone.
Oh, I thought it was always there.
It's been there a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Another finisher. We will identify as soon as we can ascertain their name.
There's one coming in. We're just going to see a steady flow. Good to see that some of the crowds have stuck around. There's a group along the railing there.
I have a feeling they're gonna, when they realize the urgency, they're gonna get up out of their chairs and
Yeah, I hope
maybe
so.
make their way to the rail. I know that. Oh, is that 3? They all look like green bibs. I mean, that's great. Like I said, it's, you know, kudos to everybody finishing the 50 mile. Damian Scott, our most recent finisher, 35:08:54. Congratulations to Damian. Hails from Lander, Wyoming.
The home of the National Outdoor Leadership School. One of the most outstanding outdoor education programs in the world, likely. And again, at the risk of beating a dead horse, 2 hours from the top of the mountain to the bottom.
That's the safety zone to me, anyways. Yeah, Deborah, at this point, anybody on the course, it's a nail biter.
Yep, it's nail biter, 100%.
I mean, unless I happen to see them down the chute, I'm not making any predictions. But I assume if you're asking about somebody named Rachel Ellerman, perhaps?
Ellerman. I think it's Ellerman, yep.
Came through in 33:48:15, so had about 2:11, 2:12 to get down the hill.
Yep, and as we mentioned before, she was right with her was Alana Klingman, who another friend of ours in the chat was asking about. I was suggesting if they could get together, might be able to work a little bit together to get down the hill.
Most recent finisher, Clayton Foster, 35:09:08. Clayton Foster comes to us from Fort Collins, right down the road. Congratulations, Clayton. We'll see you in December, that first weekend.
Lottery weekend.
Of course, I'd love to go see the lottery, but we host a lottery party every year at one of our local races.
One of the best and simultaneously most disappointing weekends of the year.
That's part of why I couldn't go.
Yeah, people get so fired up for the weekend, and then 95% of the people leave the weekend disappointed.
I can't imagine what it's
going
like.
back to ultra sign up.
I can't imagine. I mean, you've been there at the lottery to see the elation of somebody who is in person.
Oh, it's incredible.
Pulled. Yeah.
It's just incredible. Yeah.
And that's what these runners here are, in some cases, I would venture to guess in most cases, looking to accomplish.
Remember when late Bob Barker would say, "Come on down."
Yeah.
That's what it's like. They jump up and scream. And we got another one, 35:10. Leah Garwood through the finish line. Congratulations. You had it in the bag all day.
Leah, not the first Hawaiian to come through. Shoot. Congratulations, Leah.
Yeah. So, for example, we've had a finisher a minute for the last few minutes.
Yep.
My back hurts. Thank you very much. Is reporting that Rachel's husband says she's about a mile out, but he reported that 20 minutes ago.
Uh-oh.
Sounds about right.
Do we lose our... Okay, we get back.
Thank you, Sarah. We're enjoying it. It's always an adventure to stream a first-time race like we learned at Hard Rock this year. But we're having a great time, and we've gotten through some little bumps in the road and enjoyed it. Adam Rothberg is in the house, 35:11, keeping together our streak of a finisher every minute.
Adam Rothberg from Boulder, Colorado.
And don't let your stream thumbs get tired. we'll be back with a stream, Mountain Outpost with a stream next weekend at the Mammoth Trail Fest in Northern California or Southern California. And then, of course, our very own Javelina 100. We're going all in for the stream this year on the last weekend in October.
We're not even done for the weekend, though. Tomorrow we're going to cover the
Award
show.
ceremony. That's right.
Absolutely.
Happy, cheerful finish there.
Starting to get a little bit dark out there.
You asked if it would be. I think it's just barely. You could probably just squeeze in at 8 o'clock without a headlamp.
45 minutes to go.
All right,
Well,
we're a quarter of the way through.
The nice thing about it is once they're on the road, it's not technical.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's a downhill steep, but it's not technical.
So even if it is a little bit dark, you don't need to be sort of dancing around and being overly cautious.
But they have to get to about mile, maybe 2 miles to go, because if you remember,
where Zach was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That looked a little bit technical.
Mm-hmm. It did.
You're basically coming up a ski slope. And for those that have done a race that involves a ski slope climb, it's
John Scott is in the house, 35-14. Important to point out, he's another one who didn't have a time at Mount Werner.
so we could be having more people than we expected.
Yeah.
John Scott from Leadville. We're just going to.
Yeah, the Javelina stream does get a little bit crazy, but we try to keep it under control.
It's just after dark.
Yeah.
Things get out of control. And,
yeah,
I lock the door to the studio so Jamil can't get in. And
right. We sort of do our own little version of Jackass Junction right there in the studio. If you've never been to Javelina, gosh, it's worth it just to come out and check it out. Derek Eccles, I hope I'm saying that right. Could be Eccles. 35-14-54.
I don't think he cares what you call him.
Yeah.
As long as you call him finisher.
Call him a finisher.
Twin Falls, Idaho, Derek Eccles. Congratulations.
Ooh, Twin Falls, Idaho. Anybody driving through there, stop at 9 Beans and a Burrito. 9 Beans and a Burrito, make a note of it. It's right off the highway. One of the best burrito shops you'll ever find. Right in the middle of the potato fields of Idaho.
I mean, you don't come here just for the commentary of the race, do you?
Of course not.
You want dining recommendations? We got you covered.
Becca Neal.
Becca Neal getting it done. Flatlander from Evansville, Indiana.
Evansville, Indiana. See, it can be done. It can be done.
Everybody doing the Arlen Glick thing. Coming out from the East Coast and
well, Casey Lickdye did the Arlen Glick thing before Arlen did the Arlen Glick thing. Omaha, Nebraska is not known for its towering, majestic peaks.
You get those vert sessions from parking garages and
Indeed.
4-story buildings. Congratulations to Becca.
We're looking like 30 or so still out there.
So, yeah, we've averaged a finisher every 90 seconds or so far into the golden hour.
Here's one coming through and a couple more.
It's going to get intense.
There's a happy finisher. Again, in the chat, if you see any of your friends, let us know. We'll get it as soon as we can.
About 40 minutes left.
Elizabeth Buckman bringing it home in 35:19. Okay, a good example here. She was at Mount Werner in 33:56. So she made it down the hill in 23 minutes. An hour and 23 minutes. An hour and 23 minutes. So one of showing us that there's a chance.
Elizabeth from Cleveland, Ohio.
All right. A little Midwest flurry here. That's a good descent. That's a really good descent.
Absolutely. To be able to do that at this point in the race, for sure. Also, it looks like Elizabeth's first 100. So congratulations to her.
And right on her heels, Mike Iyer. Mike Iyer, one of our 50 to 59-year-old athletes. Also got in under 2 hours on the final descent.
Another
1:52. Hour and 52 minutes to get down that descent. The buckles are flowing.
Yep. Michael, another runner who has experience here locally, actually ran Run Rabbit Run in 2019, finished it there, and ran Continental Divide 50K last year.
A tune-up race. Another Aaron Rambo fan. Again, Aaron, we told you is on what we considered our bubble, but our likely or more than likely bubble. He needed to get down in an hour and 58 minutes. He's probably in his own world of hurt right now.
Oh, yeah. We've reached the point where I don't have to scroll up and down amongst the runners on the track anymore, or on the course anymore.
Yep, it's a beer mug. They have free beer at the finish line.
Wait,
from
what?
what I understand. Yeah.
What?
Yes, they do.
Oh, man. They also get the sweet buckle.
Yep.
The silver buckle.
Smart wool socks, really nice t-shirt, a hat. No.
Our
Nobody wants
finishers,
to see us.
we've got a few of them. It's Brian Slaughterbock, 35:22. Brian Mott, 35:22. Rachel Ellerman, 35:22.
Those Rachel fans in the chat, she made it.
Congratulations to Brian with a Y, Brian with an I, and Rachel.
Slaughterbock is a multiple-time Hard Rock finisher.
Nice.
Gets himself another qualifier. Rachel is in. Yes, my back hurts. She made it.
Yep, just now. Brian Mott looks like he did the Continental Divide 50K as a warm up this year. Has run Eastern States.
Where's he from?
Let's see. Brian Mott is from Steamboat Springs. It's
Oh, local. All right. This race is the locals like this race. They run.
Yeah.
We got a lot of local runners here.
And that was one of your questions when we came to town, where sometimes when you're running a race, you don't really get that vibe from the locals. Like, they don't know what's going on. You see it here.
You absolutely see it here.
Yeah, the
Like
locals know.
Like at the Barley, for example.
Yeah.
They all know there's a race going on.
They know, they embrace. Yeah, TJ.
Everyone's
buddy.
highlighting.
If they're smiling, it wasn't hard enough. Is that the anti-glaze?
The finishers almost leaping across the line. Thank you all for joining us in the chat. Deborah, she's nervous.
I am too. And there's only one person on the course I know.
Deborah, who are you nervous about? Alana? I can't remember that far back.
We only have so much room in the glass.
Alana Klingman. Rachel Ellerman is in the house. She finished about 4 minutes ago.
Bill let us down. They're out of Bloody Marys.
Oh, come on.
Just cruel, man.
You guys are just okay. We got to have a different studio location next year.
Yeah.
Throw us a solid, Bill. So if you're out of Bloody Marys, what are you switching to? You have TJ Gardner right around 33 minutes left on the clock. 33 minutes.
Yeah, our most recent finishers were Brian Slaughterbock, Brian Mott, and Rachel Ellerman. Rachel was the 50th woman to finish in the Tortoise division, and Brian were 180 and 181 on the men's side.
There's a finisher coming through with some family members. Right around
Congratulations, finisher.
35 and a half hours, or a little bit less, 35:29, 35:28.
Stephen Aguirre.
Stephen Aguirre.
One whose track
we were worried about him.
By. Yeah, we were concerned that his tracker was a little bit off. Stephen from Foxfield, Colorado. Congratulations.
And it was only just because he just had a tricky tracker.
Yeah. What were we worried about?
Yeah.
Bradley Mott, congratulations for your brother getting it done. I'm sorry, your son.
Even
Brian
better.
Literally just got it done. We are down to a handful of runners we believe are on the course at this point. 20 maybe? If that.
The weather, TJ Gardner, real quick. It was chilly last night. Mid-30s, maybe a little colder up on the ridges.
But beyond that, it was pretty perfect for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The weather during the day, clear, warm but not hot.
No wind.
Yeah, no wind, no rain, maybe flashes in the high country. If there were, then I didn't hear about it, but I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, the weather has been wonderful for the runners.
Laura Chancellor cheering for Alana. Yeah, Alana's one of our runners on the bubble.
Like I said, I think Alana's in decent shape.
She had 2:10 to get down.
Yeah.
2:11.
We'll see if we can convince them to shine some brighter lights there.
Renee Ciccio, I think that's how you pronounce it. Renee Ciccio, 35:27. Closing in just after Stephen Aguirre.
We have reached the halfway point of the golden hour.
Yep, we're now down to the golden half hour. This is when it really gets real.
As a veteran of multiple golden hours, I can say that this is when it's just getting started.
Yeah, it really is kind of true. The first half an hour is just like, yeah, it's great you guys made it, but
I mean, if you've got double-digit minutes left, did you really golden hour?
Yeah.
I've seen it all.
There's a finisher.
And I'm loving this.
Yeah, this is great stuff.
It's just nice to be able to pull this inspiration from these athletes.
A couple of runners who we know have people still in the chat pulling for them. Jared Weisenberger, who got through Mount Werner really on the bubble, 34:17. Aaron Rambo, huge crowd cheering section, got through, has about 2 hours. And Alana Klingman has about 2 hours and 10 to get down the mountain. If anybody else is looking for some information on their runners, let us know. Jason Jackson, we think he's safe, but he has not been moving that well.
As I mentioned, a runner I'm familiar with, Carl Balloon, multiple-time Cocodona finisher, no stranger to being on races with live streams.
Indeed.
Hoping he gets it done here as well.
Yeah, so Jason Jackson fans, Jason, according to his tracker at least, hit Mount Werner at 32:17. So over 3 hours ago. So we're hoping for good things. He was trending. His pace was solid all through the day. Seemed to be tracking towards a 35-hour finish. So we shall see.
I'm beginning to think that William Nee, there's something incredibly wrong with his tracker.
I think there's something up with William Nee's. Yep.
Because his timer hit Werner before it hit Long Lake.
Yeah.
It's not that it hit one or missed one. It hit them in reverse order.
He could just show up, because, for example, if you look at Renee Ciccio, who just finished, she was 30:16 at Long Lake.
2 more finishers, Ryan Willis and Brian Ward. Congratulations.
Right. Coming in together, as we've seen a lot in the last couple of hours. Runners grouping up, safety in numbers, a little motivation in numbers. Although at this time of the race, you don't want to be waiting around for someone else.
Yeah, Ellen, we're trying to figure out what's going on with William Nee's tracker. It's messing with my nerves.
Vivega, certainly we had a 72-year-old finisher in the house. Steve Rossi finished about an hour ago. He took the early start. Jason Jackson's first 100. Okay.
Ryan Willis and Brian Ward, our most recent finishers from Conifer, Colorado and Salida, Colorado, respectively.
And a couple minutes after them, Bryant Tinkman
Brett
Brett Tinkman in 35:33.
from Westminster, Colorado. Congratulations.
These Coloradans, they know a thing or two about mountains.
Oh, yeah. They just head right up the back door and right up the next hill.
Two of my sons live in Colorado, and man, it's just like they can do anything. It's awesome.
We are 25 minutes out from the finish. Got a steady stream of finishers coming in. Hugs for the finishers, buckles, ride, lottery entries, immortality, all of the things that come with finishing Run Rabbit Run
This is
2023.
Makes it all worthwhile. However they were feeling a day ago in the middle of the night, freezing cold. All of that washes away. And then take that picture right there.
Adam Weir, congratulations. Finishing in 35, 33, 59.
Yeah, they're even less than every minute now.
We are down to my estimation, maybe 15 runners on course potentially, maybe 18 depending on tracker issues. Less than 20 for sure.
Yep, and some of our crowd favorites are still out there. Alana Kingman, Aaron Rambo, Jared Weisenberger. But you're all our favorites. They're all our favorites.
2 more finishers. Joe Von Bokern. Congratulations to Joe. And Stephen Henson. Joe Von Bokern from Dacono, Colorado. Stephen Henson from Lincoln, Nebraska.
Joe, an example of someone who got down in under 2 hours, about an hour and 45. Nice work.
Yeah, Stephen, on the other hand, took his time about 2:35.
Yeah, it's a euphemism to say took his time. Makes it sound like it did it intentionally.
Used the time allowed by the race director.
I think I'm just going to take my time and stroll down this mountain on these legs that feel like tree stumps.
Point taken.
I've decided to just cruise this last bit. James Benner, real quick. Valerie Abrati, I know she's one of our older runners. We did not see her leave Long Lake, mile 89. Her tracker at least is frozen there. Has stopped there at 32 hours and 5 minutes. Not sure what that means because we've seen some people skip over the tracker, but that's the last we've heard of her.
Yeah, it's entirely possible that she is still on course, but we're not sure because we haven't heard a ping from her in about 3.5 hours. I wish we had more to offer because to be in the dark about something like that, I get it.
Yeah,
it's
I totally get it. Yeah. Feel the same way about Jason Jackson's crew out here because his tracker seems to be similar to William Nee's, or he's just moving slowly. Lisa Western. Well, she's got a qualifier to Western. See what I did there?
I did see what you did there.
She got down the mountain in an hour and 23 minutes. Hour and 23 minutes for Lisa Western. One of the faster splits we've seen.
Lottery bound.
Yeah.
From Laramie, Wyoming.
Tara asks.
Go ahead.
You go.
Tara asking if David Moran is going to make it. It's hard to say. If David is doing what he's doing and he's hauling ass, he's got a shot.
Yeah.
But he has to haul. I'm talking 90-mile legs, suddenly throwing down 10, 30 miles.
Yeah.
That's what he's got to do. Now, the terrain is favorable to that if he's got the legs to do it. But it's hard to say somebody's got the legs to do that at mile 90. I won't say no. I won't say yes. I'll say he's got to
do a little quick search. Is he a David Marin? Is he a mountain man? Has he run hundreds before? Let's just see if you got any information on him. I mean, I would say if I knew the guy was a proven downhiller, with quads of stone, I might be like, yeah, okay, let's give it a shot.
David's got a resume. Grand Raid, Trail de Bourbon, North Face, Canada, 125K.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's run some hard stuff. I mean, Grand Raid has hills way steeper and harder than this. Yeah. Let's give him a shot.
I think that actually makes me feel better. Makes me think that he can make this happen.
Another finisher there, gathering his hugs. Family members dancing around, excited because they can go to dinner now, among other things.
8:01.
Yep. 20 minutes, actually, tiny bit less than 20 minutes less left in the golden hour.
8:01, Barley.
Yep. See you there, everybody.
We're not joking.
And we're not buying.
That's true, too. Aaron Rambo's pacer says less than half a mile.
Oh.
Coming down that hill?
There we go. That's good to hear, Charles.
Good intel. Thank you.
Charles is up real late over in Finland, nail biting this one out. Wait a minute. He says under half an hour. Well, it has to be under half an hour. Now it says half a mile.
Oh, well, yeah, I was going to say under and half an hour. Well, we know.
Half a mile. That sounds much better than half an hour.
Woo. William Nee. That was William Nee that came in.
Well, there goes to show those trackers can trick us.
Yeah, congratulations, William Nee from Providence, Utah, getting it done. We were kind of wondering because of William's tracker being a little bit wonky.
So it seems as though one of those split times is wrong, but one of them's right. Or probably he was at Long Lake in the 30-hour range, 30 and a half hours, and had no time through Werner.
At this point, I think we're looking at about maybe a dozen runners that we could be crossing our fingers for. One of them just crossed the finish line, Carl Balloon. Very experienced runner. Carl from Lafayette, California, finishing in 35:41:22. Congratulations, Carl.
So we're down to 10. We're down to 10. I just counted real quick. With David Morin definitely being our outlier of full 30
and also
plus minutes.
I was kind of hedging simply because we didn't know if somebody else had a situation like William Nee or Stephen Aguirre. Because we were running about those two for hours. This is about to get real dicey, real emotional.
We know Jason's fans are looking for him. He's been out there a long time. His last call, 32:17 at Mount Werner.
Congratulations to Bib 711 from Virginia Beach.
Jared Weisenberger. That is a great finish. That is a great finish. An hour and 25 minutes
I
from
believe
the top of the mountain down.
Jared's mom was in the chat.
Yep.
cheering him on.
Jared's
Congratulations,
mom was
Mom.
from back in Virginia Beach.
That's awesome.
We're getting word that Jason's on his way. This is good. Yeah.
We are down to the final 15 minutes here.
15 minutes.
Another finisher. They're getting urgent.
8 runners. With this finish, 8 runners. Jason with the lean. We got a leaner. That might explain the lengthy trip down the mountain.
Yeah, we've seen that lean do
Oh, yeah.
some things.
You don't want to lean off the mountain.
No. Yeah, based on our knowledge and what we've got awareness of, we're looking at 8 or 9 more,
Mm-hmm.
assuming there aren't any sort of missed.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Jason Jackson, Ross Pete, Alana Klingman, Kieran Hanumaya, Pam Spire, Aaron Rambo, Joshua Quarterman, Cassidy Birdsong, and David Morin.
Yeah, those are the runners. Whoop, we just got 3 of them. Jason Jackson, Ross Pete, Jason Jackson, Pam Spire, and Ross Pete.
Oh, there we go. And
3
now
more.
there are 5.
6.
6. My bad. I can't count.
It's okay. We're doing an ultra. It's like ultra miles.
Yep.
This is a 100-miler. Why is it
Oh, come on.
102?
The Rambo cheering section's going real crazy down there. Charles sees them.
Less than 15 minutes left. Actually, about 13 minutes left. Yeah, I agree, TJ. Empty the tank.
Yep.
Full send.
Let it go.
No.
Did we have a finish line proposal? We're hearing we had a finish line proposal.
I didn't. I'll have to rewind it.
Did she say yes? We're getting word that we had a finish line proposal. Aaron Rambo is finished. 35-46.
Was it Aaron Rambo that made the marriage proposal? Okay.
We're getting food in the chat.
And was the runner the one who made the proposal?
It was brief and she looked happy, so presumably. Yeah, I think it was Aaron Rambo with the proposal.
Man,
No wonder all you guys were watching.
how do you have energy to kneel? Oh, yeah.
Good thing you finished. How lame would it be to propose if you missed the cutoff?
Oh, that'd be brutal.
That would be terrible. I love you anyway, honey.
Congratulations to Aaron Rambo. Getting it done. Wait a minute. Yeah. So level with me, crowd. Who knew?
Yeah,
Who knew?
we need to know. Charles, all the way over in Finland, did you know this was going to happen? Gotta love it. Proposal. Aaron Rambo.
Yeah, I want to know who knew and who knew what.
We got to finish. Oh, it's a 50-miler finisher?
Sounds like it.
Okay. Rambo, meet us at Barley. We'll toast you. Alana Klingman, Kieran Hanumaya, Joshua Quarterman, Cassidy Birdsong, David Morin. He had the ring in his running vest. Some of them claiming they had no idea.
He had to carry that thing for 100 miles.
And had to nail biter to finish.
Yeah. I mean, what happens? Do you wait till the
Bill,
next 100?
Bill in Colorado. No finish, no proposal. I want to meet Bill. Okay, Laura Chancellor is saying she thought she saw Alana come in. Want to confirm that she's still out there. Let's give it a shot.
Can we get back to the let's peel back around to it if we have time. We need to cover the finish here.
Yeah, we can't. You guys, we have 10 minutes.
A half dozen. One just came in. We'll find out who that was. Actually, we've got 5. And we saw one come in. We have somebody else come in, and it's hard to tell. There might be some 50 milers. But we
10
will
minutes on the clock.
see. This is
Ilana
where
Klingman. If we have anybody out there who can confirm Ilana Klingman's finish, we're not seeing it yet, but
yeah, we've seen. Let's see.
oh, girlfriend ran with Rambo the last 4 miles. That's cool. She's like, honey, we gotta really haul ass.
All right. Hoping we can get eyes on a couple of these runners that have come
Ilana
through.
Klingman, Kieran Hanumaya, Joshua Quarterman, Cassidy Birdsong, and David Morin.
Cheering you all on.
Golden Hour, Run Rabbit, Run 100, Steamboat Springs, Colorado.
Down to golden 8 minutes and change.
What's that?
We're getting your editing, Jordan.
I'm hearing.
Yeah, we're hearing your editing.
We got a finisher
Yeah,
there.
We can hear it. Interesting. That was Tatiana Mile. That was somebody whose splits were missed at Werner. So we still have 5 expected. Congratulations, Tatiana, from Boca Raton. Definitely doing some parking garage
Doing
work
parking
there.
garages and highway bridges.
Yes.
Charles admits he may have had an idea.
May have had
Okay.
an idea. I think it's fantastic if it gave him that extra punch to get down that hill.
Yeah.
All for it.
So we want to keep, even though we think we want to keep an eye on Valeria Brady and Steven Rogers just in case, because as we just saw with Tatiana Melee, they are missing the occasional runner through Mount Werner. So
Kieran Hanumaya, one of our
is it
5
in the house.
in the house.
Away, Kieran.
So we're talking 4,
4.
5, 6 potentially with 6 minutes and change.
Nice finish at 35:52 for Kieran. At that lonely finish line arch. Come on, come on.
Man, here we go. Looks like it might have been a 50-mile finisher. We'll find out for sure if they pop up on our feed. 5.5 minutes. She was in here before that. She went from here straight to the finish line.
It's a lot of hugs.
She was working down aid last night when we were on the air. I don't know if she slept at all. Maybe. That's a 100-mile finisher right
That's
there.
100-miler.
Getting it done. 5 minutes.
5 minutes to go. All kinds of family members coming out. Whoa, tons of family. A whole baseball team. Dancers, bunny ears. Oh, let's face it, we got a lot of bunny ears here at Run Rabbit Run.
That's true. We'll identify that runner as soon as we can.
I need to get Aaron Rambo on the podcast.
That was David Morin.
You're kidding me.
No.
He did a 108. He did a 102.
102.
Holy cow.
Did down the hill in a 102.
That's insane.
That is amazing. He smelled that barn and he went for it.
As far as we can tell, we have 3 left. Alana Klingman, Joshua Quarterman, and Cassidy Birdsong with 4 minutes. Really, 3 minutes.
I cannot believe what we just saw.
That was incredible. 102. You're right, Bill, in Colorado. One of the fastest splits.
In hours. Easily.
Oh, yeah.
That's like top 10 level split right there.
Oh, it is. Oh, yeah. If Leah was still here, she could tell us. Oh, boy. 2.5 minutes. Still shaking my head for that David Morin.
Yeah, that's something. That was faster than John Herrick.
Jeez. Just the will it takes to do that.
Yeah. So impressive to leave it all out there like that. It was only 9 minutes slower than Arlen.
Really? Here we go.
Bringing it in.
That's a 100-miler across the line.
Let's find out who it was.
Jamil's right there. Attaboy, Jamil.
Jam sighting. I've never seen Jamil wear stripes.
1 minute. 1 minute left in the golden hour.
Full send, everybody.
If you're going down that step, you have to leap it.
If you got somebody you're rooting on, they've got a minute to go. Determine who our previous finisher was there. That was Alana.
Alana Klingman.
Alana Klingman getting it done. Leaving it all out there.
Attaboy, Alana.
35, 58, maybe 40.
Oh,
Love it.
30 seconds.
I want to see one more headlamp. One more. Give me one more. I need this. 15 seconds. Honestly, there's one more coming. I don't think.
There we go.
And
It's in the books.
wow.
Run, Rabbit, Run. 2023 100-miler.
Wait a minute. That was Cassidy Birdsong, according to our tracker. Cassidy Birdsong came through in 35:58:04. We did not get a time yet for Alana.
Cassidy Birdsong is showing 35:58. And
Yeah.
we're
We'll give it
pretty
a minute
sure
for
we
the,
saw Alana. We're getting congrats, Alana. I saw that. That was Alana. But
we'll give it a minute or two for things to shake out on the tracker, just in case. But yeah, that was a hell of a race.
we got the proposal video. We'll put it out in a package somewhere.
Yeah, great job on that, Jordan. Thank you. Maybe we'll have to talk to Charles, maybe get Aaron to contact Aravipa or Steep Life Media, and maybe we can play around with it. Yeah, get you a copy.
And at least an invite to the wedding.
Yeah. I think
Or the bachelor party.
Yeah.
Judging by these guys in the chat, it's going to be a fun bachelor party.
off the hook.
Yep. I have a feeling these guys don't mess around.
Well, I guess with that, I think that our coverage is going to pretty much draw to a close.
Yep.
Um,
Again, all of these results are unofficial. So
Yeah.
Stay tuned to official race channels for anything else you might need. But Chris, this was a blast.
Absolutely. We saw some great performances. We sat alongside some people that had some great performances. You know, first of all, I'd like to thank our broadcast colleagues, Jason Schlarb and Zach Marion. Great job, Leah Yingling, and
Mike
Shit.
McMonigal.
I was going to call it Chip, but,
Shit in the woods.
but Mike McGonigal, Leah Yingling, thank you. To our drone pilots and other people helping, such as Joe Petty, Jason Peters. I believe we also had Troy Wicks on the feed as well. Jordan and Bryce producing, Jamil doing everything along the way.
Matt Feldick,
Matt
a
Faldick.
couple thousand miles away, doing everything behind
Absolutely.
the scenes.
Yeah, it takes a village to produce these live streams, and it takes a lot of willing people. Congratulations to the runners, to those who finished, to those who accomplished their goals, to those who finished on the podium. On the men's side in the hare race, Dave Stevens, Jimmy Elam, Arlen Click. On the women's side, Tara Dower, Christine Echt, and Karen Holland.
Thanks to Fred Abramovitz for inviting us to do this,
For sure.
and also having the vision first for the Run Rabbit Run 50-miler, and then expanding it to a 100-miler, and including all kinds of cool and innovative things like prize money, a separate race for tortoise and hares, a team competition that we really enjoyed. Fred and his team just do incredible work, and it's wonderful to be part of it.
And Fred gets his hands dirty.
Oh yeah,
He's right
He's
down
in
in
there.
it. Well, I think that's pretty much a wrap. Is that about it?
That's about it. Until next time, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
All right. Take care. And next week we'll be doing the Mammoth Trail Fest live stream. And,
Check it out.
We'll see you then.